Hello, welcome to today's Cocoon and Cuppa with me. I'm Katie Phillips. I founded the School of Self-Love and I'm here for today's Q&A session, and I'm joining you on Instagram and Facebook, hence the two cameras. Good to have you, and I'm very glad to be answering a question today from Lindy, who's a member of Evolution Membership. Hi, Alyssa. Hey, Flo. Hey, Hen. Good to have you guys. If you're joining on Facebook, and I can see somebody has, I'll allow a few more people to join. Say hello as you join, please, so I know who I'm chatting to. Today's question is from Lindy, and she's asked, I feel like I've lost my passion. Having given up things that were stressful and become more relaxed, which is great, right? I seem to have lost my oomph, a technical term, she says. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. So she's lost her oomph. She's relaxed, so that's fab, right? She's not stressed. That's good news. But she feels like she's lost her passion and her oomph. Hi, Flo, Alyssa, and Henya. Good to have you guys. Thank you for joining. Hello, hello. All right, so I had a little think about this while I was, honestly, well, just a little insight into my life and my morning. Hi, Jane. Good to see you. Hey, Barney. Good to have you too. I need to get back to you. So my morning has involved being at the vet with the puppy. Nothing too terrible. Just a check up on a few things that we had some questions around. Yeah, dealing with the puppy and puppy stuff and puppy walks, and then 3 teenagers at home off school, and it's like midday, and I'm finally able to sit down and kind of get on to my stuff. So I've had an interesting morning, and while I've been doing all of that this morning, juggling as we mums of animals and children and businesses do, I've been thinking about this question for Lindy. And I know Lindy, and we have done some, hey Sana, hey Claudia, hey Nikita, good to see you guys. We've done a really powerful body of work together over the last couple of years, and it's been an absolute honor being in her life. And so I know the kind of the background to this question for her. And essentially, in a nutshell, this is a woman that had a very successful, lucrative career for many, 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 many years. And she now doesn't work. And she set herself up so that she doesn't have to work. And on the back of being very, very, very busy, and, this is a woman who, and I wonder if any of you can relate, received a lot of her significance and sense of purpose and sense of value and worthiness from her work for all of those years. And she was great at what she did, and it was very successful. And there wasn't a lot of balance going on, and so to continue to be on that treadmill of receiving the self-worth, the significance, the value, all of those pieces, which that's been a part of my life as well, particularly when I worked in corporate. You kind of get on this treadmill, and you get the accolade or the pay rise or the new client or whatever it is, and that gives you that sense of self, that validation. And then because it's not come internally, because it's been sourced externally, it's short-lived, right? It's a bit like if you're hungry and you go grab a McDonald's. Please never ever grab a McDonald's. But if you do, it will fill you up for about 5 minutes, and it's empty calories and it's nasty stuff. And so you're going to be hungry again in 5 minutes time, right? It's empty. It's not nourishing. And so then she found herself not working, and she threw herself into other passions, which is wonderful. She's an incredibly talented and passionate woman, and she threw herself into all sorts of different things, but found herself, it was a habit of behavior of hers to be busy all the time, because it was the busyness and that sense of achievement on the back of being busy, and busy, achieve, that kept that sense of significance, available to her. And she realized that a lot of what she was getting involved in actually really wasn't serving her, and she was continuing to feel stressed and overstretched, and she didn't want to be like that anymore. She didn't want to feel like that anymore. And a big part of our coaching together has been to help her find a little bit more balance and to tune into showing up in the world and showing up for herself in a way that feels really aligned and authentic for her, where in a way that she is getting her self-worth and her value intrinsically from within. Like, she is the source of that. Who she is enough in the world, right? She doesn't have to achieve something. She doesn't have to go after something outside of herself. She doesn't have to prove herself, which is a really big piece, that proving energy. She doesn't have to prove herself in any way to be able to go to bed at night knowing who I am is enough. And so on the back of some beautiful and very powerful work together, she has that sense that I'm enough. Just as I am, sat in this chair, doing nothing, who I am is enough. And that's beautiful. And that's involved her letting go of a bunch of passion projects, but the project was getting bigger than the passion. So she's let go of a lot of stuff that was keeping her busy. And now she's kind of in this no man's land of, what do I do now? And so hence this question's come. And I've got kind of a few levels to the answer around this question. And for those of you who are just joining, I'm going to read the question again so you know what we're talking about. I feel like I've lost my passion. Having given up things that were stressful and become more relaxed, I seem to have lost my oomph, her technical term, and would love to hear your thoughts on that. So the first thing that comes to mind for me, because I know this woman, is, and this was my experience, and it's really interesting that it's come up. I have another coaching group called Daring and Mighty Love, which is for single women. And this exact same, well, not exact, but a very similar question came up in that group from one of the participants, which was, so we've been learning to do life. We've all been learning to do life. We've created this habit of approaching life from our masculine energy, which is that part of us that achieves, that writes lists, that gets things done, makes things happen. It keeps us busy, right? So we've learned to do life that way. Nothing wrong with that. We just need to learn how to balance that out with the feminine way, which is being, surrendering, receiving, allowing beautiful time and space to connect with our spiritual truth, to receive our divine guidance, so that we are receiving guidance and inspiration that's aligned with who we are, and then that energy can inform our masculine energy to take action. So the action then comes from a very aligned, inspired place. So most of my clients are starting off, like, if you can imagine there's a pendulum, and if the pendulum's smack bang in the middle, we've got that beautiful balance between masculine and feminine energy. Most of the women I work with are very heavily over in their masculine, on this doing and action taking, and they're exhausted. And a lot of the action is coming from a place of I should, from comparison, from just, quite frankly, unconscious habits, like, this is what I've always done, so I'm just going to always do it, or this is what apparently I'm good at, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And I keep getting pay rises, and people keep telling me I'm amazing, and so I'm just going to keep doing that. And it's quite unconscious. And the desire then is, because they're exhausted and they feel out of alignment and they feel like something's missing and they want to feel more purposeful in the world, they want to find, how do I then feel more in my feminine? How do I get to this place of feeling inspired and creative and just happy to hang out in my own company, comfortable in my own skin? How do I get to this? So that's the work. So we're moving here for them to discover this feminine section, right? The discovery of the feminine is a huge journey in its own right. It's a wonderful journey. I absolutely, in my own life, I've loved it. I'm still loving it. And the exploration of it, the curiosity of it, and to guide a woman into this side, this way of doing life is just such an honor. Super exciting. But what we find often, and this was my experience, is we discover the feminine, and it's exciting and it's curious and it's new, and we want it, right? Our soul is like, yes, I've been starved for so long. Finally, she's come home to me, because the feminine is where our soul resides. The home of the feminine is the body, it's the heart, it's where we connect to our spirit. So our spirit is like, yes, she's home. It feels wonderful. And then it can be like, so we're there for a while, and then it's almost like, because we've been starved of it, we want to stay there even longer. Hi, Ellen, good to see you. We want to stay there even longer. And then it becomes quite a cozy, relaxed, lovely place to be. And I really feel like for this particular woman, for Lindy, this is where she is. And for me, I was there for a long time. So at first it was because I felt starved of it and I needed to be there. And essentially what we're doing energetically is we are balancing out. If we've done, random figure, if we've done 20 years in our masculine, we kind of got 20 years of our feminine that's been like disregarded, and that's looking to be that thirst is looking to be quenched. So we go there for a while, and then we kind of stay there, and then sort of the longer that we're there and we're just kind of being, and we're receiving, and we're tuning in, and we're feeling our alignment come back, several things can kind of be going on. And I think this is where Lindy is saying, when she says, I've lost my passion, so she's given up the stress, so she hasn't got stress anymore, which is great, and she's become relaxed, wonderful, but she's like, where's my oomph? Where's my oomph? And I think that's the tipping point of when we start wondering, where is my oomph? That's when we're ready to maybe come back into balance. But I remember having, a good few months of finding myself in my feminine, happy to be there. And then after a while, kind of like, this is great, but I'm not getting anything done. I'm not really achieving, and I'm ready to. And how do I find that balance? And there was a period of time for me as well. And Lindy, I think sharing stories and experiences can be really super helpful. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to share mine. I think after a while of loving it and then being uncomfortable, I think within the discomfort, I think always discomfort is just a little whisper from our soul saying it's time to shake things up a bit. It's time for something new, but we don't know what the new is. So the discomfort, I think, is a huge gift. It's our spirit saying, yeah, come on, ready for something more now. We've moved out of the masculine, like that extremity of the masculine. We've discovered the feminine. This is great. You're now relaxed. You're not stressed. Wonderful. Now I'm a bit bored. Like I kind of like, because we do need both, right? So I think, Lindy, you're just in that space, which I was, and a lot of my clients have been, of like, this is great. Now I want more. So awareness is the first step to change. Just knowing that, I think, is empowering. Like that's just the stage that you're at. That's okay. You're just ready for something else. Wonderful. So it's just step one, I guess, would be acknowledging that, just acknowledging how you're feeling, that you kind of got itchy feet, you're ready for something else. At the same time as acknowledging that, I would also invite you to acknowledge that you've probably got like I'm going to call it an addiction. It's like you're in like recovery. If you've been addicted to working compulsively, being really busy, to getting your sense of self-worth and value and significance outside of yourself through your work, through your busyness, that's an addiction, right? Let's call a spade a spade. And so you're in recovery. You've gone through the cold turkey and you've done a ton of healing to move you into a very different way of being in the world. The fact that you're not stressed anymore, that you're relaxed, that you're really enjoying your life so much more is testament to that. And there might still be that little voice saying, come on, you're not doing anything. Come on, it's time to achieve. Come on, who do you think you are? Like you're not doing anything. Like what's your value in this world? And like it could be a pull back to doing life the old way. So it's just a full acknowledgement with total self-compassion, total self-love, that's probably going on at the same time as well. So there's a couple of different, can you feel there's a couple of different layers to this? So acknowledging it, acknowledging all of this, all the different pieces, layers and levels of this. And then those of you who know me, and there's a bunch of you here that do, that have done some work with me, then we say the prayer. We ask for help. We say to God, to life, to the universe, I'm feeling uncomfortable. And I think I'm ready to find my passion and find a way of showing up in the world that has me be a little bit more active than I am right now, in a way that feels really good for me. And I'm willing to be shown the way. Like, even though I don't know what to do, I'm willing to be shown. Does that make sense? Yeah. So to use Lindy's technical term of oomph, even though I've lost my oomph and I desire to get it back, I desire for my passion to return. I don't know what that is right now. I'm ready to be shown. I'm ready to be guided, and just allow the guidance to come. And right there, that's a very feminine approach. We're not pushing anything. We're in full self-acceptance, full self-acknowledgement, full allowing, and you're opening yourself up to receiving the guidance and the direction in a very feminine way, because you asked for it. Asking is the first step to receiving. Does that make sense? So I think, I feel like for you, Lindy, that's kind of where you're at. So yeah, the pendulum has gone way over to the feminine, and you're just ready for the pendulum to come back and find some level of balance, knowing that it's never always going to be completely in balance, because when the feminine inspires and excites us to get creative and put a plan into action, we go way over to our masculine, because then masculine's like, yeah, let's do this, let's make this happen. So we're over there, and then we're going to come back here to rest and restore and recover and tune in, and then we probably go back there. But the big picture is we're here. That makes sense, rather than being over here all the time. So I hope that's helpful. And then the other thing I felt was important to bring to this conversation today, because of the time that we're in with COVID and the pandemic and so on, this is something I've been feeling. I've seen a few people here and there, like little pockets of people referring to this. So I know I'm not alone, and I'm wondering if this might be happening for you too, Lindy, and anybody else watching and listening now. And that's this idea that because we're largely at home at the moment, and we have been for a few months now, and I think I talked about this in a live a couple of weeks ago, there's this idea that we're just not getting stimulated in the way that we're used to being stimulated, right? We're not out in the world being stimulated. If you think about all of your senses, we're not going to restaurants to have all of our taste senses stimulated. We're not getting trains. We're not meeting up with people. We're not going to concerts or the cinema. Like, all of our sight, sound, taste, touch, all of it is just not getting stimulated in the way that we're used to. Of course, we're still getting stimulated at home, and we're actually being invited to find different ways to receive that stimulation. And I would even suggest a more kind of internal ability to feel stimulated. It is a different level of connection. But that's kind of another conversation. But we're just not getting the stimulation we're used to. And I really believe that that lack of stimulation can actually have us feel a bit flat, can have us feel a bit, like, to use your language, Lindy, you said, I've lost my passion. I feel that too. I would say over the last 3 months of this, my passion for my work, maybe not my work, a little bit my work, definitely in my life generally, I haven't felt as fired up and as excited and as motivated. Yeah, motivated would be the word. I definitely haven't felt as motivated as I usually would. That has absolutely been a challenge of mine. If anybody watching or listening now can relate to that over these last 3 months, I think this COVID situation, the lack of stimulation, has had us feel a little bit lost, a little bit directionless, a little lacking in motivation. For me, I'm getting very easily distracted. Things aren't the same. So just all feels a bit flat, a bit different. And so for me, this is where my daily practices, my spiritual connection, just spending time with me, finding that internal stimulation, which is creating an even more intimate depth of relationship with myself, has been more important than ever. So if you feel like you've lost your passion and lacking your oomph, just this situation, this COVID pandemic thing, I reckon that's affecting a lot of us in that way. And, it's perhaps for many people as well having the opposite, because they're being forced to find different ways of showing up in the world and different ways of doing their business. And perhaps that's actually that there has stimulated a creativity and a thinking outside the box. So it's not the same for everybody, but for me, my life hasn't changed that much, just that I'm at home a lot. I've got the kids at home, and so I have felt a little wishy-washy. I have felt a little unmotivated and a little distracted, because my usual life, I'm not getting the stimulation outside. Does that make sense? And then one of what I love about my Evolution membership group is, so when Lindy posted this question in there for me to bring to today's Q&A, somebody else jumped in and supported her and gave her some advice. And the woman that gave her some thoughts and advice is a super intuitive woman. She's awesome. And she mentioned, which I don't know a lot about this, so I can't really speak to it, but the fact that, we've just had a full moon, we've had eclipse, there's various planets in retrograde, like this is all going on as well. So the energetics of the universe is all a bit like topsy-turvy. Like I said, it's not my expertise. I know that I'm going to forget her name now, Yasmin Boland, the Australian woman who wrote Moonology. She does a daily Facebook Live on what's going on with the planets and the moon and so on. So that's always quite interesting to listen to. If you want to understand that more, you can tune into her. But yeah, that's all going on as well. I feel like with the planets, there's always something going on with the planets that has us make us feel a bit woo-woo. But so I think so Lindy, there's some awareness creation there. There's some pieces for you to have a little think about, which I hope is supportive. And then I did just jot down 4 points that you might like to consider. So I would invite you to grab your journal and just explore, how do you desire to feel? I know you know what you're not right now, but just explore a little bit more. I know you want to have your passion back, I think, and you want your oomph back. But what does that mean for you? Like, explore a little bit. How do you desire to feel? Like, what would passion and oomph mean for you? What does oomph mean? That was my second question. Like, can you explore that in your journal? What does it mean to have oomph? What does that look like for you? How are you showing up in the world when you have oomph? What does that feel like for you? What might you be doing? The third question I would invite you to journal is, what do you really, really desire? Because maybe you're in a position where your desires are shifting and changing right now, and I wouldn't be surprised. So maybe this is a chance to just reconnect with your desires, reconnect with your values. There's a whole chapter on values in my book. I don't have a copy of it here. The Self-Love Affair, A Woman's Guide to a Daring and Mighty Life. Whole chapter on values. It might be a time to reconnect with your values. And then the last third of the book is all about desires. So reconnect with your desires. Use this time to marinate in that and really enjoy the process of reconnecting with your desires. And then the fourth point that I jotted down was this idea of getting stimulated in a different way. So that might be, and this is for me something that I've been doing. So you might discover a new podcast. I have been doing that. You might be reading new books, perhaps new genres of books, something you've never read before, maybe trying different types and genres of film. Maybe if you've never got into, French film, maybe try a couple, maybe watch some ballet on YouTube. What have you always wished you had time to read or listen to or watch? And maybe now's the time to do that. I have a membership to Gaia.com, Gaia. So much content on there if you're spiritual and conscious and awake. So it might be a chance to just explore some different mediums, different genres, to kind of inject a little bit of passion, a little bit of oomph, to get stimulated in a different way. Does that make sense? I think that can help. And I really think while we're not out and about in the world, getting stimulated, which means then receiving ideas and inspiration and creativity from external sources out and about, from home, we can still do that. We can have that journey and that experience through books, through podcasts, through film, right? So maybe through watching and listening and reading different stuff, it will inspire you. It'll stimulate you. It will ignite something. And then just allow your process to be your process and trust that your oomph will come back. I think there might be a real fear that your oomph has gone forever. And maybe just trust that it will return. It's the natural order of things, right? You're here. You're now here. But the natural order of things is to be here, sort of like doing this. And because that's the natural order of things, that's what you can expect. It's coming. It's on its way. Does that make sense? So perhaps some trust and faith in yourself and life and the process that you're coming back. When I was there, I thought I was never coming back, baby. I was never going to be able to run a business. I was never going to make money ever again. I was never going to feel on purpose. I was never going to have my drive. I was never going to be interesting to talk to. And it's just not true. It came back. And by the way, as it comes back, oh my gosh, with a vengeance, because it really is fueled by the truth of you, by your authentic nature. That's what's so cool about discovering the feminine. When you come back, you will be divinely guided, and it will feel so aligned and so good. And you will show up in the world in a way that's energizing rather than energy sapping. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. Lots of layers and approaches to that question in my answer, but I hope it's been helpful. If you're not already a member of the Evolution membership, please come and join us. I'm offering the first month free. That means if you don't like it, you can just leave. It's not like, I tried to sign up something the other day. They offered a month free. And it turned out it was a month free, but you were like solidly you had to be signed up to this quite high level price point for 12 months. That's not what I'm doing, right? If you try it, if you don't like it, you can leave. But there's so much amazing content in there, such an amazing community, beautiful support. You get coaching from me. Like, this isn't coaching, this is Q&A, this is chat. You will get coaching from me in a group environment, and from other incredible experts who I bring into the membership every month, who are aligned with a specific monthly theme. And all of the previous monthly coaching calls, all of the previous masterclasses, and there's been a lot because I'm doing bonus masterclasses every month. It's all there in our online membership portal, so you can like catch up on it all, watch it all. Super cool. Yeah, and if you don't like it, you leave, but you can enjoy at least a month's worth of it for free. So thank you for joining. Oh, hi Ellen from Philadelphia. She's saying, acknowledge, seek support, be open to receive. A good plan. Thank you. If you just summarized my half an hour answer. I love that. Thank you, Ellen. That's brilliant. Hi, Yaz. Good to see you. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to wrap up. Love you all lots. Come join the membership, Evolution membership. I'll put the links below here somewhere. And yeah, I'll see you on Friday at 5 p.m. for some self-love wisdom. Thank you for joining. See you later. Bye.